Across the sprawling, unspoiled wildernesses of our planet, from the shadow-draped forests of the Pacific Northwest to the snow-laden slopes of the Himalayas, a legend persists, one that blurs the boundary between the known and the unknown. In these remote primeval landscapes, the air is thick with the scent of moss and pine, and the only sounds are the distant calls of unseen birds and the soft rustle of wind through ancient branches. The creature at the heart of this myth is known by many names: Sasquatch in the dense rainforests of North America, Yeti in the icy reaches of Asia, and skunk ape in the humid southern swamps. But to most, it is simply called Bigfoot. Descriptions converge on a singular vision: a massive bipedal primate, cloaked in thick, dark fur, striding silently through the undergrowth. Its presence is felt more than seen, a fleeting shadow, a heavy footfall echoing through the silence, a shape that vanishes as quickly as it appears. The origins of the Bigfoot myth are as old as the forests themselves. Long before the arrival of modern explorers, indigenous peoples spoke of wild, elusive beings that roamed the deepest woods, guardians of the land, spirits of the wilderness, or simply another creature of the night. These stories, rich with reverence and caution, were passed down through generations, woven into the very fabric of oral tradition. The environments that cradle these legends are themselves characters in the story. Towering conifers block out the sun, their trunks carpeted in emerald moss. The ground is soft with centuries of fallen needles, muffling footsteps and swallowing sound. Mist clings to the undergrowth, distorting shapes and playing tricks on the eyes. In these places, the ordinary becomes extraordinary, and the line between reality and myth blurs. Evidence, when it appears, is as enigmatic as the creature itself. Deep, impossibly large footprints pressed into the mud after a rainstorm. Branches snapped high above the reach of any known animal. The low, resonant sound of something moving through the brush, just out of sight. Each clue is a fragment of a puzzle that has captivated the human imagination for centuries. The cultural impact of Bigfoot is profound. It is a symbol of the wild unknown, a reminder that even in an age of satellites and science, there are mysteries that endure. The myth has inspired countless expeditions, scientific debates, and artistic interpretations, fueling a global fascination that transcends borders and generations. In literature and art, Bigfoot is often depicted as a relic of a forgotten era, a living echo of a time when the world was untamed and humanity was not yet its master. The creature embodies both fear and wonder, a guardian of secrets hidden deep within the last untouched places on Earth. The search for Bigfoot is not merely a hunt for a creature, but a quest to rediscover the wildness that still lingers at the edges of our mapped and measured world. Each new discovery, be it a cast of a footprint, a blurry photograph, or a chilling audio recording, adds another layer to the legend, inviting us to look closer, to listen more intently, to wonder what else might be out there. At night, when the forest is alive with the sounds of unseen creatures and the darkness presses in from all sides, the myth of Bigfoot feels especially real. The crackle of a branch, the flicker of movement in the shadows, each is a reminder of how much we have yet to understand. The allure of the unknown draws people into the wilderness, not just in search of answers, but in pursuit of the experience itself, the thrill of possibility, the beauty of untouched nature, the sense of standing on the threshold of discovery. For some, the search is a scientific endeavor, a meticulous investigation of evidence and environment. For others, it is a personal journey, a way to connect with the primal world that still exists beyond the reach of civilization. The myth of Bigfoot endures because it speaks to something deep within us, a longing for mystery, a respect for the unknown, and a hope that the world is still wilder than we imagine. The idea that such a creature could exist, hidden in the vastness of the wilderness, is both humbling and exhilarating. It challenges our assumptions and invites us to keep searching, to keep questioning, to keep dreaming. In the end, the legend of Bigfoot is not just about what might be lurking in the shadows, but about the shadows themselves, the mysteries that remain, the secrets that nature still keeps, and the stories that continue to unfold in the silent, watchful forests of our world. Even as technology maps every corner of the globe, the myth persists, thriving in the places where the wild remains untamed and the night is filled with the unknown. Each piece of evidence, every footprint, every indistinct photograph, every eerie sound adds to the tapestry of the legend, keeping the story alive and the questions unanswered. The myth of Bigfoot is a living story, shaped by the landscapes it inhabits and the imaginations it inspires. It is a testament to the enduring power of the unknown and to our endless fascination with the mysteries that lie just beyond the edge of the firelight. In this exploration, we will delve into the most compelling recent encounters, examine the evidence with a critical eye, and consider the cultural legacy of a legend that refuses to be forgotten. The journey into the heart of the Bigfoot myth is as rich and mysterious as the forests themselves, an odyssey into the unknown, where every shadow holds a story and every silence is filled with possibility. Our planet's national parks are sanctuaries, vast protected realms where nature thrives, largely undisturbed by human presence. In these immense landscapes, the wild remains untamed, and the unknown can still hide in plain sight. It is within these deep primeval forests and rugged mountains that some of the most credible and chilling Bigfoot sightings have emerged in recent years. Yellowstone National Park, renowned for its geothermal wonders and abundant wildlife, became the setting for a sighting that continues to baffle experts and enthusiasts alike. On a frigid winter morning, a group of shadowy, upright figures was captured on film traversing a remote, snow-covered hillside. The figures moved with a deliberate, purposeful stride, their silhouettes stark against the endless white. The figures' upright posture and coordinated movement immediately set them apart from any known wildlife in the region. Their forms were broad-shouldered and tall, with arms swinging in a manner distinct from bears or other large mammals. Nearby, a herd of bison grazed undisturbed, their massive forms dwarfed by the mysterious figures. The bison's lack of alarm suggested the presence was neither predatory nor familiar, adding to the enigma. One figure in particular exhibited a pronounced, uneven gait, its stride long and loping, with a subtle limp that left a unique pattern in the snow. This detail, captured in high definition, has become a focal point for researchers analyzing the footage. South of Yellowstone, the wild expanse of Provo Canyon in Utah has also become a hotspot for unexplained encounters. The canyon's dense pine forests and sheer cliffs create a labyrinth of shadows and hidden trails. In this remote setting, a stationary, massive figure was observed standing among the trees, its outline barely visible through the shifting light and dense foliage. The creature's immense size and stillness set it apart from any known animal in the region. The figure remained motionless for several minutes, blending almost perfectly with the tree trunks. Only the occasional, slow shift of weight hinted at life, as if the creature was observing its surroundings with cautious intelligence. Even at a distance, the figure's proportions were extraordinary, far larger and bulkier than any bear or elk. Its outline, though blurred by distance and shadow, suggested a creature of immense power and size. Careful analysis of the footage revealed subtle movements, the rise and fall of the chest, the gentle sway of the upper body, and the visible breath in the cold air, details that lend credibility to the sighting. The creature stood in absolute silence, surveying the landscape as if it were the undisputed guardian of this wild domain. Its presence was both awe-inspiring and deeply unsettling, a living shadow among the ancient trees. In the aftermath of the Provo Canyon sighting, investigators discovered physical anomalies, branches broken at unusual heights, fresh scratches on tree trunks, and a few strands of coarse dark hair caught on the bark, evidence that defied easy explanation. Tracks found nearby were unlike those of any known animal, broad, deep impressions with clear toe and heel marks, spaced far apart as if made by a creature with an enormous stride. Yet, as is often the case, the evidence was fleeting. Fresh snowfall and wind quickly obscured the tracks, leaving only tantalizing hints of what had passed through. Among the few remaining clues were oversized boot prints, oddly positioned and far larger than any standard footwear. Their placement and depth suggested something far heavier than a human had walked there. The mystery deepened, as the landscape itself seemed to conspire in keeping its secrets. The fog and silence of the mountains left more questions than answers, fueling speculation about what truly roams these wild places. Sightings in protected lands like Yellowstone and Provo Canyon are especially significant. These vast, unspoiled ecosystems offer the space and resources necessary for large, elusive creatures to remain hidden. Unlike suburban parks or small woodlots, these are immense interconnected habitats, places where the unknown can still exist, and where the line between myth and reality is often blurred. Unique evidence occasionally surfaces: tufts of unidentified hair, unusual scat, and makeshift shelters built from broken branches, clues that hint at the presence of something extraordinary, yet always just out of reach. These accounts from the wildest corners of our world remind us that vast tracts of wilderness remain unexplored, where ancient mysteries may still walk, silent, watchful, and forever just beyond the edge of certainty. The enigma of Bigfoot stretches far beyond the isolated reaches of Yellowstone or the Pacific Northwest. In the American Southeast, the legend weaves itself into the very fabric of the land, from the rugged Blue Ridge Mountains of Georgia to the shadowy wetlands of Florida. Here the stories are shaped by the unique environments, each encounter colored by the dense forests, humid swamps, and tangled wilderness that define the region. In North Georgia, the forests are a labyrinth of pine, oak, and rhododendron, where the undergrowth muffles sound and the canopy blocks out the sun. Local legends speak of the wood booger, a regional name for Bigfoot, said to roam the Chattahoochee National Forest. Reports often describe a musky odor lingering in the air, and the sound of heavy footsteps crunching through leaf litter, echoing through the valleys. Evidence collected in these forests includes massive footprints, sometimes measuring over 15 inches in length, pressed deep into the soft earth after a rainstorm. Broken branches, twisted at heights unreachable by local wildlife, and strange, low-frequency vocalizations recorded at night add to the growing body of local evidence. As the land flattens and the forests give way to the wetlands of southern Georgia and northern Florida, the legend transforms. Here, the creature is often called the swamp stalker, blending seamlessly into the tangled palmetto and cypress groves. The environment itself is a maze of waterways and dense vegetation, making it nearly impossible to track anything for long. In these swamps, evidence takes on a different form. Locals report finding enormous three-toed tracks along muddy banks and hearing guttural calls echoing across the water at dusk. Wildlife cameras occasionally capture fleeting, shadowy shapes moving through the reeds, always just out of clear focus but unmistakably large and upright. In Florida, the legend becomes the infamous skunk ape. The Everglades, with their endless sawgrass prairies and hidden islands of hardwoods, are a perfect refuge for something that wishes to remain unseen. The skunk ape is named for its pungent odor, often described as a mix of wet dog and rotten eggs, and for its ability to vanish into the thickest parts of the swamp in seconds. Some of the most compelling evidence comes from trail cameras set up by wildlife researchers. In several cases, these cameras have captured images of a broad-shouldered, bipedal figure moving through the palmettos, its outline distinct against the foliage. Hair samples collected from fence lines have been analyzed, revealing unknown primate characteristics that do not match any native species. Nighttime in the swamps brings its own mysteries. Eye shine, bright reflective glows, are often spotted at unusual heights, far above where deer or raccoons would be. deep claw marks gouged into tree trunks, and the sound of heavy breathing just beyond the reach of flashlight beams are reported by those brave enough to venture out after dark. The Okefenokee Swamp, straddling the Georgia-Florida border, is a hotspot for unexplained activity. Here, researchers have documented unusual scat samples containing traces of undigested plant matter and hair, unlike anything found in local black bear populations. The swamp's isolation and vastness make it a perfect setting for legends to thrive, and for something unknown to remain hidden. Throughout these regions, unique local legends persist. In Georgia, tales of the Boogerman are passed down through generations, warning children not to wander too far from home. In Florida, the skunk ape is said to be a guardian of the wild places, appearing only to those who respect the land. These stories are more than folklore. They are a reflection of the deep connection between people and the mysterious landscapes they inhabit. What unites these encounters is the sense that the wild is never far away. The evidence, footprints, hair samples, vocalizations, and fleeting images remains tantalizingly out of reach, always raising more questions than answers. In the southeast, the legend of Bigfoot is not just a story, it is a living mystery, shaped by the land itself. From the misty mountains of Georgia to the shadowed swamps of Florida, the search for answers continues. Each new piece of evidence, each unexplained sound in the night, adds another layer to the legend, reminding us that in these wild places, the unknown is always just beyond the next bend in the trail. While the name Bigfoot is distinctly North American, the phenomenon of a large, hairy, ape-like hominid is truly global in scope. Across continents and cultures, reports of mysterious bipedal creatures have emerged from some of the planet's most remote and inhospitable environments, each with their own unique characteristics and local legends. In the towering, snow-laden Himalayas, the Yeti, sometimes called the abominable snowman, has been part of Sherpa folklore for centuries. The region's harsh climate and treacherous terrain have preserved its mystery, but modern expeditions have uncovered more than just stories. In 2019, a scientific team documented a series of massive humanoid footprints at over 17,000 feet, far above the tree line and well beyond the range of known wildlife. The prints pressed deep into the snow, measured nearly twice the length of a human's, and showed a stride impossible for any local animal. Moving west, the vast, ancient forests of Eurasia are home to the almas, a creature described in Mongolian and Russian folklore as a wild, human-like being covered in reddish hair. Unlike the solitary Bigfoot, almas are sometimes reported in small family groups foraging in the deep taiga. In the dense woodlands of the Baltic states, a 2022 investigation in Latvia yielded thermal imaging footage of a large upright figure moving through a forest clearing at dawn. The creature's heat signature and unusual gait, captured from a distance, ruled out known wildlife and left local biologists perplexed. Analysts noted the figure's awkward, almost shuffling movement, distinct from the confident stride often described in North American encounters, suggesting either a regional adaptation or an individual anomaly. The Baltic case remains one of the most puzzling, as the creature's behavior and physical proportions did not match any known animal or hoax attempt. In the dense, humid jungles of Southeast Asia, the orang pendek of Sumatra is described as a short, powerfully built biped with dark fur and remarkable agility. Local guides and Western researchers alike have reported fleeting glimpses and found unusual hair samples, some of which have defied genetic classification. In 2026, a hiker's camera captured a large, upright silhouette on a narrow jungle path. The figure, partially obscured by thick foliage, appeared to rise to its full height before vanishing into the undergrowth, leaving behind only a faint trail and a lingering sense of awe. The scale of the creature, compared to the surrounding vegetation, suggested a being far larger than any known primate in the region. In Australia, the yowie is said to roam the Blue Mountains and Queensland rainforests. Recent environmental DNA studies in these areas have uncovered unidentified primate markers in water samples, sparking renewed interest among cryptozoologists and conservationists. From the snowfields of the Himalayas to the rainforests of Australia and the shadowy forests of Eastern Europe, these creatures are known by many names: Yeti, Almas, Yowie, Orang Pendek, but their descriptions remain strikingly consistent: large, hairy, bipedal, and elusive. Despite the diversity of environments, icy mountains, dense jungles, temperate forests, the recurring theme is a creature that avoids human contact, leaving behind only fleeting evidence: footprints, hair samples, and rare, ambiguous footage. In 2023, helicopter surveillance over a remote Indonesian island captured a massive figure moving through the treetops, causing the canopy to sway and shake. The footage, analyzed by wildlife experts, showed a size and movement pattern inconsistent with any known animal in the region. In the Amazon, indigenous trackers have reported encounters with the mapinguari, a towering, foul-smelling creature said to leave behind enormous tracks and guttural calls echoing through the rainforest. While physical evidence remains elusive, the consistency of these reports across generations is striking. These global glimpses challenge the notion that Bigfoot is merely an American legend. Instead, they point to a worldwide mystery, one that may represent an undiscovered species, perfectly adapted to remain hidden in the last wild places on Earth, and whose existence continues to intrigue scientists and explorers alike. Sometimes the most chilling evidence of Bigfoot is not what is seen, but what is heard. In the heart of remote wilderness, where human presence is rare and the silence is profound, the environment itself becomes a stage for the unknown. Many who venture into these deep woods return not with photographs, but with audio recordings of sounds that defy easy explanation. The acoustic environment of these forests is unique. Thick vegetation, uneven terrain, and natural amphitheaters of rock and ravine can amplify and distort noises, making identification even more challenging. Researchers deploy sensitive recording equipment, parabolic microphones, omnidirectional recorders, and even seismic sensors to capture the full spectrum of nocturnal sounds. These devices are often left running for days, collecting hours of ambient noise in hopes of isolating something extraordinary. In these wild places, the most frequently reported sounds are long, mournful howls that rise and fall in pitch, echoing across valleys and ridgelines. These vocalizations are often described as having a resonance and power far beyond that of any known animal, carrying for miles through the still night air. The acoustic signature of these howls is remarkable: low-frequency components that can be felt as much as heard, with harmonics that suggest a large vocal tract and immense lung capacity. Spectrographic analysis often reveals frequency ranges and modulations not found in the calls of wolves, bears, or other regional wildlife. Another mysterious phenomenon is the so-called wood knock. In the absence of wind or falling branches, sharp, rhythmic strikes resonate through the forest, sometimes in complex patterns. These knocks are often exchanged between distant points, suggesting a form of non-vocal communication. Investigators have attempted to replicate these knocks using wooden bats or rocks, but the resulting sounds lack the depth and volume of the original recordings. The source appears to be something with significant strength, capable of producing percussive sounds that travel great distances. Occasionally, these auditory events are accompanied by the unmistakable sounds of heavy movement, branches breaking, undergrowth being pushed aside, and the deep, deliberate footfalls of something large navigating the forest floor. These noises are often recorded in areas where no large mammals are known to roam at that time. Environmental context is crucial in analyzing these sounds. Temperature, humidity, and wind conditions are meticulously logged, as they can affect how sound travels and is perceived. Investigators also map the terrain to understand how echoes and natural barriers might alter the original source. Once collected, audio files are subjected to rigorous analysis. Spectrograms are used to visualize frequency, duration, and amplitude, Software can filter out known animal calls, isolating anomalies for further study. Some recordings reveal complex structures, multiple harmonics, sudden shifts in pitch, and patterns that suggest intentionality. Despite extensive comparison with regional wildlife databases, many of these sounds remain unidentified. Their volume, frequency range, and structure do not match any animal in the official biological record. Some even exhibit characteristics more akin to primate vocalizations than to any North American mammal. From guttural growls that seem to vibrate through the ground to the deliberate cadence of wood knocks echoing in the darkness, these sounds form a tapestry of mystery. They hint at a presence that is intelligent, powerful, and deeply connected to the wild places of the world, its voice echoing through the lonely forests, waiting to be understood. In the ongoing pursuit to verify the existence of Bigfoot, the most sought-after evidence is physical and visual: footprints, photographs, and film. These tangible traces are the foundation of scientific inquiry, offering the potential for objective analysis in a field often clouded by anecdote and speculation. Among all forms of evidence, footprints are perhaps the most scrutinized. In remote, undisturbed environments, researchers have documented tracks that defy easy explanation, often appearing in long, uninterrupted sequences across challenging terrain such as steep slopes, riverbanks, or deep snow. The most famous example is the 1967 Bluff Creek trackway, where a series of massive, deeply impressed footprints were found in a sandbar. These prints, each over 16 inches long and 8 inches wide, displayed a stride length and depth of impression, suggesting a creature of extraordinary size and weight. Environmental context is crucial. Tracks found in soft mud or fresh snow are less likely to be hoaxed, as the substrate records minute details such as pressure ridges, flexion creases, and even the displacement of moss or leaf litter around the print. Forensic analysis often focuses on dermal ridges, fine, fingerprint-like lines visible in high-quality casts. In the 1982 Mill Creek case, casts revealed intricate ridge patterns consistent with primate skin, yet distinct from any known animal or human, making fabrication highly improbable. Trackways are especially valuable. A continuous line of prints with consistent stride and depth allows experts to estimate the creature's height, weight, and even walking mechanics. In the 2011 Walla Walla incident, a trackway crossed a frozen creek without breaking stride, suggesting remarkable strength and balance. Photographic and film evidence, while often criticized for poor quality, can still yield important data. The Patterson-Gimlin film, shot in 1967, remains the gold standard. Its subject's limb proportions, muscle movement, and gait have been analyzed frame by biomechanical experts, with some arguing that the movement is inconsistent with a human in a costume. Modern technology has expanded the search. Trail cameras, drones, and high-resolution smartphones now capture vast amounts of footage in remote areas. In 2019, a thermal drone survey in the Olympic Peninsula recorded a large, heat-emitting figure moving upright through dense undergrowth, far from any known human activity. Environmental context is again key. Security cameras in protected wildlife corridors have captured figures moving at times and in places where human presence is highly unlikely, such as pre-dawn hours in restricted zones. Night vision and infrared footage sometimes reveal large upright forms traversing suburban edges or forest boundaries, their movement patterns distinct from local wildlife. Technical analysis of these videos involves frame-by-frame enhancement, motion tracking, and comparison with known animals. Experts look for anatomical anomalies, such as arm length, shoulder width, and foot flexion that would be difficult to replicate with prosthetics or costumes. The quality of evidence varies widely. High-resolution images can reveal hair texture, skin folds, or even eye shine, while low-resolution footage is more prone to misinterpretation. Environmental factors, Fog, rain, or dense foliage often obscure critical details. Unique cases stand out. The Myakka skunk ape photographs from Florida, for example, show a face with pronounced brow ridges and wide-set eyes, features not found in local wildlife. Botanists later confirmed the surrounding vegetation was native to the Everglades, supporting the authenticity of the setting. In Tennessee, drone footage captured the violent shaking of treetops in a remote valley. No animal was visible, but the force required to move mature trees in this way suggested a powerful unseen presence. Environmental analysis ruled out wind or known wildlife as causes. Indirect evidence, such as broken branches, disturbed moss, or freshly upturned soil, is meticulously documented. In several cases, biologists have noted that the height and pattern of damage are inconsistent with bears or elk, pointing to an unknown agent. Each piece of evidence, whether a single print, a fleeting image, or a sound recording, contributes to a growing database. Researchers cross-reference these findings with environmental data, weather records, and known animal activity to rule out mundane explanations. Scientific rigor is paramount. Every print is measured, photographed, and, if possible, cast. Photographs are geotagged and analyzed for digital manipulation. Only evidence that withstands this scrutiny is considered credible. The field is not without its pitfalls. Hoaxes, ranging from carved wooden feet to stage costumes, have been exposed through careful analysis of material, gait, and environmental context. In one case, a supposed trackway was revealed to have identical left and right prints, a telltale sign of artificial creation. Ambiguous footage is treated with caution. Grainy videos are compared against databases of known animals, hikers, and even local folklore to assess plausibility. Footprint casts are examined for tool marks, symmetry, and anatomical accuracy. Genuine prints often show asymmetry and subtle pressure variations, while fakes tend to be uniform and lack fine detail. The most compelling cases are those where multiple forms of evidence converge, such as a trackway leading to a hair sample or a video that matches anatomical features found in footprints. In Baxter, Tennessee, a video of a long-armed figure was matched to footprint trackways showing a mid-tarsal break, a trait found in non-human primates but not in humans, strengthening the case for an unknown species. Ultimately, the investigation is a meticulous process of collecting, analyzing, and cross-referencing evidence within its environmental context. Each credible print, photo, or film brings us incrementally closer to understanding the true nature of the mysterious presence that haunts the wild places of North America. The surge in modern Bigfoot sightings is deeply rooted in a long tradition of historical encounters, each contributing to the evolving legend and our understanding of this elusive creature. To truly appreciate the current wave of reports, it's essential to examine how classic cases compare to those emerging today. The Patterson-Gimlin film of 1967 remains the most iconic piece of Bigfoot evidence. Captured in the remote, densely wooded region of Bluff Creek, California, this short, grainy film features a large, fur-covered female figure, known as Patty, striding purposefully through a sun-dappled clearing, glancing back at the camera before vanishing into the ancient forest. The setting itself is significant. A pristine, undisturbed wilderness, thick with towering conifers and tangled undergrowth, providing the perfect backdrop for a creature adept at remaining hidden. For over half a century, the Patterson-Gimlin film has set the standard for all subsequent visual evidence. Its subject's fluid, powerful gait and visible muscle movement have been scrutinized by experts, many of whom argue that such anatomical realism would have been nearly impossible to fake with the technology of the 1960s. The creature's proportions, broad shoulders, long arms, and a distinctive compliant stride are echoed in numerous modern reports suggesting a remarkable consistency in witness descriptions across decades. When we compare this classic footage to recent sightings, such as those captured in the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest and the Appalachian Mountains, we find striking similarities in both anatomy and movement, Take, for example, the 2015 Baxter, Tennessee sighting. In this case, a large, dark figure was observed moving through a heavily wooded ravine, its arms swinging in a manner nearly identical to Patty's, with a heavy, muscular build and a head that sat low between the shoulders. Witnesses described the same bent-kneed, gliding gait, a motion that is biomechanically distinct from that of humans and difficult to replicate, even with modern costume technology. The mid-stride head turn, a moment of apparent curiosity or caution, is a behavioral detail that has recurred in modern accounts. In a 2021 sighting near the Olympic National Park, a figure was seen pausing at the edge of a clearing, turning its head to scan the surroundings before melting back into the trees, mirroring the iconic gesture from the Patterson-Gimlin film. These behavioral parallels, observed in vastly different regions and eras, suggest a persistent, possibly species-wide set of traits. Another foundational case is the Bossberg Tracks incident of 1969. In the frigid, snow-blanketed forests of Bossberg, Washington, over 1,000 massive footprints were discovered, winding through the winter landscape. The tracks were notable not only for their size but for their anatomical detail, clear impressions of toes, mid-tarsal breaks, and a stride length far exceeding that of a human. Uniquely, one foot appeared normal, while the other was deformed, suggesting a club foot. This detail provided a rare glimpse into individual variation within the species, hinting at a population with its own health challenges and physical diversity. The tracks were studied by respected researchers, including Dr. Grover Krantz, who concluded that the deformity and anatomical accuracy were beyond the capabilities of hoaxers, especially given the remote, inhospitable environment. Modern sightings have echoed this theme of individuality. In Yellowstone National Park, a 2019 video captured a large figure moving with a pronounced limp, its gait uneven yet powerful, suggesting a unique physical characteristic that set it apart from others. The evolution of technology has dramatically changed the nature of evidence. Early cases relied on plaster casts, eyewitness sketches, and grainy 16mm film, all limited by the tools and conditions of the time. These early materials, while groundbreaking, often left much to interpretation due to their lack of clarity and context. Today, the arsenal of evidence has expanded to include high-definition drone footage, thermal imaging that reveals heat signatures through dense foliage, and sensitive audio recorders that capture vocalizations and wood knocks deep within the wilderness. Security cameras now document encounters at the forest's edge, sometimes even capturing fleeting shapes in the buffer zones between wild habitat and human development, an environment rarely considered in classic cases. As forests change and human encroachment increases, modern sightings are not only confirming the fundamental characteristics established by classic cases, but also revealing new patterns of behavior, adaptation, and range. The enduring mystery of Bigfoot is now painted with greater detail and realism, as evolving evidence bridges the gap between legend and reality, and the search continues in both the deepest wilderness and the shifting frontiers of our own backyards. The enduring mystery of Bigfoot has fostered a complex landscape of opinions, dividing the public and scientific community into distinct camps, those who believe in the creature's existence and those who remain skeptical. Yet within these broad categories, there exists a spectrum of nuanced perspectives, each shaped by unique investigative approaches and the challenging environments in which evidence is sought. Believers, often driven by a combination of personal encounters and a deep fascination with the unknown, meticulously document physical traces, unusual footprints, hair samples, and audio recordings of unexplained vocalizations. Many employ advanced field techniques, such as deploying motion-activated cameras, collecting environmental DNA from soil and water, and using night vision equipment to monitor remote wilderness areas. Their investigations are shaped by the vast, often inhospitable terrain, thick forests, swamps, and mountainous regions, where evidence is fleeting and conditions are rarely ideal. On the other hand, skeptics approach the phenomenon with rigorous scientific scrutiny. They analyze purported evidence for alternative explanations such as misidentified animal tracks, environmental artifacts, or even the effects of pareidolia, the human tendency to perceive familiar patterns where none exist. Skeptics often conduct controlled experiments recreating alleged Bigfoot evidence under similar environmental conditions to test its authenticity. Their work is grounded in the principle that extraordinary claims demand extraordinary evidence, and they emphasize the necessity of peer-reviewed, repeatable results before accepting the existence of an undiscovered primate. Both camps must contend with the challenges posed by the environment itself. Dense vegetation, unpredictable weather, and the sheer scale of wilderness areas make the collection and verification of evidence exceptionally difficult. Natural phenomena, such as animal activity, shifting light, and seasonal changes, can easily confound even the most careful observer, leading to misinterpretations or false positives. The search for truth is further complicated by the history of deliberate hoaxes. From fabricated footprints to staged videos, these deceptions have sown doubt and forced both believers and skeptics to adopt increasingly sophisticated methods for authenticating evidence. Modern investigators now utilize forensic analysis, digital imaging, and even machine learning algorithms to distinguish genuine anomalies from intentional fraud. Despite their differences, both believers and skeptics are united by a commitment to uncovering the truth, albeit through different means. Believers seek validation and the thrill of discovery, while skeptics pursue logical explanations that fit within established scientific frameworks. Their investigative methods, shaped by the realities of the natural world, reflect a shared respect for the complexity and mystery of the wilderness. Ultimately, the debate over Bigfoot is not just about the existence of a creature, but about the nature of evidence, the limits of human perception, and the enduring allure of the unknown. Until irrefutable proof emerges from the shadows of the forest, the search for truth will continue, driven by curiosity, skepticism, and the wild, untamed landscapes where legends are born. In a world where satellite imagery and digital maps seem to have charted every corner, the legend of Bigfoot endures as a rare invitation to mystery. The possibility that an undiscovered intelligent primate could still roam the remote wilds is more than a curiosity. It is a profound challenge to our assumptions about the natural world. Psychologically, the search for Bigfoot taps into a deep human need for wonder and the unknown. Our minds are wired to seek patterns, to find meaning in the unexplained, and to imagine what might exist just beyond the reach of our senses. The allure of Bigfoot is not just about the creature itself, but about the possibility that the world is still full of secrets waiting to be uncovered. Culturally, Bigfoot has become a symbol of the wild, an emblem of the untamed and the unspoiled. In an era of rapid urbanization and environmental loss, the idea that something so large and elusive could still exist offers hope that nature retains its mysteries. The legend persists across cultures and continents, echoing ancient stories of wild men and forest spirits, and reminding us of our deep-rooted connection to the land. Environmentally, the search for Bigfoot draws attention to the vast, unspoiled habitats that still exist, places where biodiversity thrives and where human presence is minimal. These landscapes are not just backdrops for legend, they are vital ecosystems, and the quest to find Bigfoot often inspires greater appreciation and protection of these wild places. The search itself becomes a form of environmental stewardship, encouraging exploration, observation, and respect for the unknown. Technological advances have only deepened the intrigue. Trail cameras, audio recorders, and drones now probe the wilderness, capturing fleeting glimpses and unexplained sounds that fuel both skepticism and belief. Each new piece of ambiguous evidence, every strange footprint, every eerie howl, adds another layer to the mystery, inviting both scientific inquiry and imaginative speculation. The Internet has transformed the search into a global phenomenon, allowing reports and findings to be shared instantly, and connecting communities of enthusiasts, skeptics, and researchers across continents. This constant exchange of information keeps the legend alive, ensuring that the search for Bigfoot is never static, but always evolving. Ultimately, the enduring power of the Bigfoot mystery lies in its ability to provoke questions. It challenges us to reconsider what we know, to look more closely at the world, and to remain open to the possibility that not all has been discovered. The search for Bigfoot is a mirror reflecting our own curiosity, our longing for adventure, and our hope that the world is still full of wonder. As long as there are wild places left, uncharted, unspoiled, and unexplained, the legend of Bigfoot will endure, inviting us to keep searching, to keep questioning, and to never stop exploring the mysteries that lie just beyond the edge of the known. Nestled between ancient forests and mist-shrouded peaks, the Pacific Northwest stands as the epicenter of Bigfoot lore. Here, towering Douglas firs and dense undergrowth create a labyrinth of shadow and silence, an environment where secrets can linger for centuries. The region's unique geography, marked by vast stretches of temperate rainforest and rugged mountain terrain, has long provided both a haven and a hiding place for elusive creatures. Local legends speak of the Sasquatch, a being revered in the oral histories of indigenous tribes such as the Coast Salish and the Lummi. These stories, passed down for generations, describe a guardian of the woods, tall, powerful, and shrouded in mystery. Unlike modern tales of fleeting glimpses, these accounts are woven into the spiritual fabric of the land, reflecting a deep respect for the unknown that dwells within the forests. Physical evidence in the Pacific Northwest is as varied as the landscape itself. In the shadowy clearings of the Olympic Peninsula, researchers have documented intricate stick structures, arches, weaves, and lean-tos, constructed in ways that defy simple explanation by wind or wildlife. Some of these formations appear in clusters, suggesting deliberate placement rather than random chance. Audio recordings taken deep in the Cascades have captured a chorus of unidentifiable vocalizations. These sounds, ranging from guttural howls to rhythmic knocks echoing through the timber, have been analyzed by wildlife experts and remain unclaimed by any known animal. The recordings are punctuated by moments of profound silence, as if the forest itself is holding its breath. In the muddy banks of remote creeks, oversized footprints, each with a unique dermal ridge pattern, have been cast and catalogued. Unlike the infamous hoaxes of the past, these impressions have been found miles from the nearest road in places accessible only by days of arduous trekking. The prints reveal anatomical details, mid-tarsal breaks and splayed toes, that intrigue primatologists and challenge conventional explanations. Camera traps scattered across the moss-laden forest floor occasionally yield fleeting images, a massive shadow moving between trees, a hand-like appendage reaching for a berry bush, or the subtle displacement of ferns. None provide definitive proof, but each fragment adds to a growing mosaic of mystery unique to this region. The Pacific Northwest remains a living laboratory for Bigfoot research, shaped by its untamed landscapes, ancient stories, and the persistent echoes of something unseen. In these forests, every snapped branch and distant call serves as a reminder. The legend is rooted not just in imagination, but in the land itself, a land that still guards its oldest secrets. As the legend of Bigfoot endures, so too does the evolution of the technology used to unravel its mysteries. Today's researchers are equipped with a sophisticated arsenal of tools, transforming the hunt for evidence from folklore-driven expeditions into data-driven investigations. In the depths of the Pacific Northwest and beyond, high-resolution thermal imaging cameras scan the undergrowth, detecting heat signatures invisible to the naked eye. These devices allow researchers to observe nocturnal activity from a distance, capturing the fleeting warmth of large bipedal figures moving silently through the trees. Unlike traditional night vision, thermal imaging reveals patterns of movement and body heat, clues that can distinguish a bear from a possible unknown primate. Acoustic analysis has become another cornerstone of modern inquiry. Specialized audio recorders, some equipped with parabolic microphones, are strategically placed in remote wilderness areas to capture the full spectrum of forest sounds. Advanced software then analyzes these recordings, searching for vocalizations that cannot be attributed to known wildlife. Machine learning algorithms trained on thousands of hours of animal calls flag anomalies, unique howls, knocks, and whistles that continue to puzzle experts. Drones equipped with infrared sensors now map vast tracts of forest in minutes, offering aerial perspectives previously inaccessible to ground teams. These unmanned aerial vehicles can pinpoint areas of unusual activity or disturbances in the canopy, which are then investigated on foot. Some drones even carry multispectral sensors, detecting subtle changes in vegetation that might indicate the presence of large mobile creatures. Trail cameras have grown more advanced, featuring near-invisible infrared flashes and motion sensors sensitive enough to trigger at the slightest movement. These cameras operate undisturbed for months, capturing thousands of images that are later sorted using artificial intelligence. This technology has reduced false positives and accelerated the identification of rare or unexplained subjects. Environmental DNA, or eDNA, has emerged as a groundbreaking tool in cryptozoological research. By collecting soil, water, or hair samples from suspected encounter sites, scientists can sequence genetic material left behind by any creature that passed through. While no definitive Bigfoot DNA has been isolated, the method has revealed the presence of rare animals in unexpected locations, demonstrating its potential for future discoveries. Satellite mapping and geographic information systems, GIS, are now used to analyze patterns in reported sightings, correlating them with environmental variables such as food sources, migration routes, and human encroachment. This spatial data helps researchers predict where evidence is most likely to surface, making each expedition more targeted and efficient. Despite these technological leaps, the search remains a blend of science and mystery. Every data point, heat signature, and trace sample adds dimension to the legend, bringing researchers closer than ever before to answering the question, is there something out there still waiting to be discovered?